Hey everybody, Steve here. We're in the Illinois recording studio. I got this snare drum here that I absolutely love, and it's from the great folks at Sonor. And this is a tremendous, tremendous drum, one of my favorites, and I'll tell you a few reasons why. Number one, this is a 13-inch head. It's 5 3/4 by 13. This is the Greb Snare drum. And I have not met Benny personally, but he's a phenomenal player, great player, and he obviously has some of the same ideas that I do about drums and snare drums and how you use them, because this invention of his is wonderful and it harkens back to some things from decades ago. So we'll talk about it in a minute. But number one, a 13-inch drum is a favorite of mine. This is 5 3/4 deep. I happen to like it because the pitch with a 13 makes it a little bit higher, but the depth gives it a lot of body and a lot of sensitivity. So it's one of my favorite sizes to start with, so that's great. It's a great Sonor drum, and there's two versions of it. There's one with a wood shell, with Scandinavian birch, with an inlay, which is beautiful. And of course, the one that's on the stand here is a brass shell. And I love them both. They're both fantastic, but I'm a little bit partial to the brass shell one today. So, it's got the great Sonor strainer on it. As you can see, there's all sorts of details on the Sonor website about this. But I want to talk about it a little bit more. Benny does a great video on it that you can see that's on the Sonor website. But I want to take it another step further and explain a little bit more about this and why I like it and why I think it's so incredibly versatile. So, those of us who are my age or thereabouts remember back into the 50s and 60s when you had things like internal mufflers, tone controls we used to call them, that would allow you to dial in a little bit of muffling to take some of the ring out of the drum. And over the course of time, that sort of fell out of favor as it wasn't needed for rock and roll and things like that, where volumes were higher, and the need for that adjustment and sensitivity really wasn't there. But for jazz players, it's an important thing, and even in the studio it's important, and quite often when guys want to do muffling, you see them do one of these. Put the wallet on the snare drum. Dries up all the sound, right? You know, any variation thereof, moon gel, things like that, or heads that are reinforced with a pin, like a pinstripe, but then those only give you one sound. You can't go back to open. So, you know, the wallet on the snare drum, you used to see it in recording studios all the time, moon gel, etc. Okay, but what you have here is an interesting version of internal tone controls. And Benny's idea was to use two different tone controls. One of them is a hard felt, and I'm going to show you that here. This one right here is a hard felt. And there's a little dial here. You just kind of pull it up, turn the dial, and press it up against the head. Okay, that's a hard felt. Now over here, the other one is a much, much softer. This is basically like lamb's wool, fleece. And that's going to provide a little bit of a different sound. So you've got the scenario here where you've got no muffling at all, wide open, drums wide open, or you can do some with the fleece, with the lamb's wool, or you can do some with the hard felt piece. So, all right, so what's the benefit? All right, here's the idea. I'll give you a sense for this drum. Here's the brass drum, wide open, no muffling. Killer, right? Killer. Okay, so I'm playing. I want a little bit of muffling in it. So let's take the hard felt one up. Now, listen. Out at the edge. In the center. You can hear it. Okay, so now let's try the other one. Wide open again. And let's try the lamb's wool. Wide open. So, with the lamb's wool, let's try something for a second. Here's the lamb's wool. Here's the hard felt. Here's both together. You can do that if you want. You figure, all right, that's going to kill the sensitivity. The drum will sound like terrible. Well, let's see. Sounds pretty good there. How about at the edges, though? Well, where's the sensitivity going to go? It's going to kill it? So, when you look at something like this, you look at a drum like this, and you just think to yourself, how can I get more for my money? Well, I don't know how you could do much better than this. You got a nice wide open drum, and it sounds fantastic wide open. The other, lamb's wool. Both together. So you can see you've got all sorts of possibilities here. Plus with that 13 projects great. It's got a little bit higher generally a little bit higher pitch for it, but a lot of body from 5 3/4 deep. So, and again, of course, the snare strain is fantastic. You can do the adjustments on either side by notches. They lock in beautifully. Construction, fit, and finish is always incredible on any of the Sonor products. So, my advice to you is you need something versatile like this. You can't do any better. Two-tone controls, which normally I'd be playing with closer to me so they would be easier to reach, but I wanted you to be able to see them from the audience side. So anyway, I would check these out at any Sonor dealer. This is fantastic stuff, and you really don't want to miss this. It's an incredible drum, very, very, very versatile, and I highly recommend it. So, hope you enjoyed. Thanks.